Hello and welcome in this second video of the Maurya Empire. In our first video we had discussed about the sources of the Maurya Empire and a brief introduction about the beginning of the Maurya Empire. We also discussed about the Nanda dynasty, which was a previous dynasty of the Maurya Empire. So after removing the Nanda dynasty, the Maurya Empire was established by Chandragupta Maurya under the guidance of a Brahmin, Chanakya or Kautilya in 321 BC. So Dhanananda was the last ruler of the Maurya Empire. So after disposing him, he was a very unpopular ruler. He was doing oppressive policies on the common people. So after removing Dhanananda, the Maurya Empire was established in 321 BC. So if it in the last video we had discussed about the main sources, we also discussed about the literary and the archaeological sources. So one of the most important literary source was Arthashastra. Arthashastra was written by Chanakya or Kautilya. So he was once disrespected, and that is why Chanakya decided to remove Dhanananda from power and to establish a unified kingdom in the whole India. So under the Maurya Empire, the whole India was united under a single banner. So if we talk about the caste of Chandragupta, many people tell that Chandragupta belonged to a lower caste or he belonged to the Maurya caste. But majority of the people tell that although he belonged to a lower caste, but he was not actually a very lower caste. He belonged to a businessman class of the Maurya caste, who were the people who were engaged in the sale and purchase of the peacocks, and that is why his name was Maurya. So Chandragupta Maurya, also called the Sandrocotus in the Greek accounts, because as I have said that in the Indica or in some other Greek writings, the Sandrocotus name is written, which denotes Chandragupta Maurya. So I hope it is clear. In the short question it can come. Sandrocotus belonged to which Indian ruler? Then Chandragupta Maurya. Then in 305, Chandragupta entered into a treaty with Seleucus Nicator and he was also defeated. Seleucus Nicator was defeated because the whole northwestern India of Baluchistan and Afghanistan was under the control of Seleucus. So Chandragupta Maurya had to attack on Seleucus Nicator in order to free the Baluchistan, the eastern Afghanistan and the whole northwestern region. So Seleucus Nicator was defeated in that. He was a Greek soldier. He was a Greek ruler. He was appointed by Alexander to hold the rule over the northwestern India. So he was a commander of Alexander. So it was after being defeated, the whole area of Baluchistan, the eastern Afghanistan and the whole area came under the control of Chandragupta Maurya, and he was married, and Chandragupta Maurya was also married by the daughter of Seleucus Nicator, and that is how the matrimonial alliance was established between the Indian people and the Greek people. So it is the same thing. Seleucus Nicator's daughter was married with Chandragupta Maurya, and Seleucus Nicator got 500 elephants. In exchange of that, he also given the area. Seleucus Nicator gave the area of Baluchistan and the eastern Afghanistan to Chandragupta Maurya. Megasthenes, he was a writer of Indica, which we have discussed in our last video. He wrote the book Indica. So Megasthenes remained in India for a long period of time, and he understood about the climate, about the soil, animal and the plants. He told that in his description. Megasthenes has also written that slavery was not there. The death sentence were normally not given to the common people, and the law and order was very strict. So these are the brief description which was given by Megasthenes in his book Indica. Now, at the age of 42, Chandragupta Maurya left the throne. He left the palace and he accepted the Jainism. The Jainism religion was accepted by Chandragupta Maurya at the age of 42, and he went to Karnataka in Shravanbelagola. In the Shravanbelagola, it is in the Karnataka. After accepting Jainism, Chandragupta Maurya went to Karnataka in the Shravanbelagola under the Jain monk Bhadrabahu, and in that place he also sacrificed his life. It was called the Sanlekhan practice. Under the Sanlekhan practice, the Jain people refused to eat anything and to drink anything. So under the slow starvation, the people were committing suicide, and that is how the people can get nirvana in the Jainism. So after, at the age of 42, Chandragupta Maurya accepted Jainism, and after that he went to Karnataka. In the Karnataka he sacrificed his life, he lost his life. And that is how the Jainism was divided into two parts, that is called the Digambar and Shwetambar. The Shwetambar people believed in the wearing the white cloth, and the Digambar people were believing in the nud position, in the same condition by which the God has sent the human being to the earth. So I hope it is clear for everyone. So at the age of 42, Chandragupta left his throne and Bindusara became the next king. So he embraced the Jainism, and it is said to have starved himself to death according to the Jain tradition at Shravanbelagola. So his reign continued from 321 BC to 297 BC. So after the death of Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusara became the next king. So at the time of Bindusara, it was Chanakya who committed suicide in the same manner. Now there are so many things, there are so many notions that Bindusara, he was the second ruler of the Maurya Empire. He was the son of Chandragupta. He ruled from 297 BC to 273 BC. He is also called Amitra Ghata or Amitrochetes in Greek sources. Amitrochetes is the Greek name of Bindusara. Now why he is called Bindusara? Because there was a dark spot over his forehead. Now it is also said that that Chanakya was also giving slow poison to Chandragupta Maurya so that he can develop some kind of immunity to any kind of poison. So he was immune from all type of poison, and it was for this reason that Kautilya was giving a kind of slow poison to Chandragupta Maurya so that he will get some kind of immunity from any kind of hard poison. So it was for this time, when Helena was, when Bindusara was in the womb of Helena, he also took some kind of food which was left by Chandragupta Maurya, and he also got infected of the poison. So after the Caesar operation, Kautilya was able to save Bindusara, but he was unable to save Helena. So after this news, after he became the next king, this news was misinterpreted by some of the ministers, and this news was reached to Bindusara. So after Kautilya got this news, he confined himself in a room and he starved to death. But after that, Bindusara came to know about the real fact, and he went to Kautilya, but in the meantime Kautilya was dead. So the death of Kautilya was a great setback for Bindusara. So in the time of Bindusara, at the administration of Bindusara, no empire was annexed. So the empire remained as the same. Only Mysore was extended, only Mysore was included into the time of Bindusara. So Demachus was a Greek ambassador who came into the court of Bindusara. He appointed his son Ashoka as the governor of Ujjain. At the beginning of the career of Ashoka, he was appointed as the governor of Ujjain, and his career was Ashoka's career was to a large extent it was successful. And Bindusara extended his empire only to Mysore. Only Mysore was included into the administration, into the territory of Maurya Empire. So Chanakya, this is the small picture of Chanakya. He was a teacher at Takshashila University. It was United India. Now let's talk about Chanakya. He was, as I have recently said, that he was a teacher and a scholar at Takshashila University, and the other names are Vishnugupta or Kautilya. He is called Kautilya because he was a very clever person. He was a teacher of Chandragupta Maurya, and accordingly after the beginning of the Maurya Empire, he became as the chief minister or prime minister. It was the then time it was called the chief minister. He was also the minister in the court of Bindusara, but at the time of Bindusara he committed his last. He was died at the time of the rule of Bindusara. So he was a master strategist regarding the removal of Nanda dynasty and the establishment of the Maurya dynasty. He is also called the Indian Machiavelli. This question has appeared in the so many examinations. Who is known as Indian Machiavelli? So Chanakya is known as the Indian Machiavelli. Arthashastra was rediscovered by R. Shamasastri in 1905. It was disappeared in the 20th century. It was disappeared under the rule of the Delhi Sultanate. Under the rule of Delhi Sultanate, it was disappeared, but again appeared by R. Shamasastri. R. Shamasastri was a person who translated Arthashastra into English, and everybody came to know about Arthashastra. So he is the R. Shamasastri is the discoverer of Arthashastra. So this is the picture of Chanakya in which he is writing the book of Arthashastra. So as I have recently said that Arthashastra is a collection of 15 different books, and there are 180 chapters in Arthashastra, and the language of Arthashastra is Sanskrit. So if a question is asked in which language Arthashastra is written, so Arthashastra is written in Sanskrit language. So Arthashastra is a very large book. It tells about the political science, it tells about the politics, the economics, about the imposition of tax, the generation of tax, the duties of the king, the duties of the prime minister and the council of minister, about the different departments. Or it also tells about the Saptanga theory. That means the 7 elements which are extremely necessary for formation of any state or any country. So it also talks about the civil and the criminal law or the diplomacy of the war. So it is a very large book. It tells about the politics and economics. So I hope that it is clear for everyone. Now this is a picture of Ashoka the Great. Ashoka became the king on 273 BC, and he continued to rule up to 232 BC. So he is called, Ashoka is mainly called as the greatest king because he was the only king who accepted the path of non-violence, and he left the path of violence. So after 9 years of his rule of Ashoka, in 261 BC, he attacked Kalinga. Now the Kalinga is called the present day Odisha. So he attacked Kalinga, and in the war of Kalinga, the lakhs of people lost their life. The Kalinga was located on the fertile land drained by Mahanadi river. It is on the delta of Mahanadi river. So Mahanadi river was even flooded because of the blood of the human beings. The color of the water of Mahanadi river turned red. So you can imagine how much massacre of the human being happened in that war. So after this war, Ashoka accepted the path of non-violence. It is also said that after the Kalinga war, Ashoka went to the villages of Kalinga and he apologized to each and every people. So it is for this reason that Ashoka is called the great king in the Indian history, because he was the only king who went to the villages after the war and he apologized the common people of Kalinga. So he is called the Ashoka the Great. Now at the beginning of his rule, Ashoka was a very cruel personality. He was a very cruel king. According to a Jain text of Deepa Vasma, there are 29 brothers who were killed by Ashoka. So Ashoka came to throne. Ashoka became the king after killing his 99 brothers, in which Tisa was the youngest brother and he was living alone. Ashoka spared Tisa. Ashoka did not kill Tisa. He was the youngest brother. Rest of the 99 brothers were killed by Ashoka. So Ashoka was a very cruel ruler at the beginning. Now he was called a very cruel prince. 99 brothers were killed by Ashoka. Now Ashoka is remembered by different names. He was called by different names. These are Devanampriya and Piyadasi. Devanampriya and Piyadasi were the another names of Ashoka. So Devanampriya means beloved by gods. Devanampriya means beloved by gods, and Piyadasi also means the same thing, beloved by gods. In some of the rock edicts, these names has been mentioned. Now Ashoka at the very beginning of his career, Ashoka was appointed as a governor of Ujjain, and after that he became the governor of Takshashila. Now Takshashila is the present day Punjab, which is under the Pakistan. It is the Pakistan side of Punjab. So in Takshashila, a revolt took place, and Ashoka was able to successfully suppress the revolt. So another important thing was the war of Kalinga in 261 BC, which I have recently said. After this war, Ashoka accepted the path of non-violence and he abdicated. He left the path of violence and he started his work on the welfare of the people. Now the welfare work of the people started. He stopped the path of violence, and he said that I will not attack any country. He accepted Buddhism under the influence of a Buddhist monk, Upagupta. Upagupta was a person under whose guidance Ashoka accepted Buddhism. Now the battle of Kalinga. Now what were the reasons why Ashoka attacked Kalinga? Because the Kalinga was a very fertile land. The place of Kalinga was a very fertile. It had the port, it had also the access to the sea, and at the same time the place of Kalinga opened the route for South India. The Kalinga will also open the route for the South India. It was located at the heart of the territory. It has its own port and it was located on the fertile land. So these were some of the reasons why Ashoka decided to attack Odisha or Kalinga. So I hope it is clear for everyone. Now let's come to here. The hundreds and thousands of the people were killed. And the description of the war is given in the 13th Rock Edict. In the 13th Rock Edict tell about the Kalinga War, the assassination of the people, and also it tells about the acceptance of Buddhism. Now, Musky Rock Edict. There are some Rock Edict in which we get the hint that Ashoka was named in these Rock Edicts. In these Rock Edicts, the name of Ashoka is written, or Devanam Priyadasi is not written in these edicts. In these edicts, Ashoka has been identified by Ashoka himself. His name of Ashoka is written. So we get the name of Ashoka in these Rock Edicts. So first one is the Musky Rock Edict, which was found in Karnataka. It also tells about the name of Ashoka. And another one is the Girnar inscription of Rudradaman. It is in the Junagadh, or it is in the present day Gujarat. It also mentions Ashoka Maurya. So the name of Ashoka is written over these two Rock Edicts. Now, after accepting the path of Buddhism, he decided to spread the Buddhism into different parts of the different countries. So he sent his son Mahendra and his daughter Sanghamitra in Sri Lanka in order to spread the Buddhism. He also invested a large amount of wealth in giving gifts to different countries. In the expansion of Buddhism, he invested a large amount of the wealth. And it is for the expansion of the Buddhism that Ashoka called the Third Buddhist Council at Pataliputra in 240 BC in order to strengthen the Sangha. It was presided over by Mogaliputra Tissa. Mogaliputra Tissa was another Buddhist monk. So there are total 4 Buddhist councils. Now, what was happening in the Buddhist council? The discussion, the expansion, the writing of the Buddhist books, it was happening in the Buddhist council. So there are total 4 Buddhist councils has taken place so far. The first Buddhist council took place, it was called by Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru was a ruler of Haryanka dynasty. And it was the third one. The fourth one happened by the fourth Buddhist council was called by Kanishka in Kashmir. In the present day Kundalwan, it was called by ancient name. We call it Kashmir. The ancient name of Kashmir is called Kundalwan. So I hope it is clear for everyone. So the third Buddhist council was called by Ashoka. Under it was presided over by Mogaliputra Tissa. So what are the languages of the Pillar and the Rock Edicts? There are mainly 4 languages which has been used in writing the proclamation or order of Ashoka on the Pillar and the Rock Edicts. These are first the Prakrit language, Sanskrit language, Greek language, and the Aramaic language. The Greek and Aramaic language was mainly used in the northwest part of India. The Prakrit was written in the western part and Sanskrit was written over the eastern part in the Brahmi script. So I hope that it is clear for everyone. Now these are the list of the kings at the very beginning to the end who were ruling the Gupta Empire, the Maurya Empire. So first one is Chandragupta Maurya, then Bindusar came, then Ashoka came. Ashoka is also called the Ashoka the Great. He is called the greatest ruler in the Maurya Empire in the history of India. After that, Dasharatha, Samprati, Shalishuka, now Devvarman after that, and Brihadratha is the last Maurya ruler. So Brihadratha was murdered by, Brihadratha was a very incapable ruler. He was a weak ruler. He was killed by a Brahmin commander, Pushyamitra. So Pushyamitra was mainly a commander in the army of Brihadratha. He was a commander of Brihadratha. He was a Brahmin. He himself killed Brihadratha. and that is how the end of the Maurya Empire happened, with the assassination of Brihadrata, with the killing of Brihadrata. So the total empire collapsed after the killing of Brihadrata, and a new empire, that is called the Sunga Empire. The Sunga Empire started by Pushyamitra Sunga. So Pushyamitra Sunga was a Brahman, and the rule of the Brahmans started after the end of the Maurya Empire. So if we try to understand what are the main reasons of the downfall of Maurya Empire, so here we are, in the next video we are going to discuss about the main reasons of the downfall of Maurya Empire.